My name is Rafael, you're watching Rocker Garage, and today I'm going to explain why Eddie Van Halen thought that Ritchie Blackmore and Joe Perry hated him. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Well, when we meet someone, obviously, we might have the wrong impression of that person, or she might be on a bad day, a bad phase, and etc. And when Eddie Van Halen finally had the chance to meet some of his heroes, some of the artists that he really admired, he wasn't very happy with some of them, and he didn't have a first good experience with Blackmore and Joe Perry, as he recalled in the early 80s. So this is what I'm gonna explain now. And we gotta remember that Eddie first achieved fame with the release of Van Halen's groundbreaking self-titled debut album in 1978, and obviously with all the other amazing albums that were released after that one. And he simply became the hottest guitarist around, the guy everybody was copying, the guy everybody was praising. People were saying he was the most revolutionary guitarist since Hendrix, and etc. So that could have made a few guitarists to be a little bit, afraid of that, or etc. And there's a really interesting interview that he gave to Jazz Obrecht in 1982, that he told this story that he thought that Blackmore and Joe Perry hated him. And this is what he said: "There's one thing that bothered me so much in the very beginning, in 1978, our first tour, is how people like Joe Perry and other guitarists would just give me that shaft with their eyes. Wouldn't say hello, wouldn't be nice, no, nothing. I'm not that way. I don't give a fuck if I'm playing a Holiday Inn lounge. I enjoy playing. But I can't stand to see a person with Alan's Holdsworth talent because of mismanagement and people fucking him around. He was ready to sell his guitar and everything and work in a factory. And that is fucking sickening. So I just think about people like Joe Perry or Ritchie Blackmore, who all hate my guts anyway. They wouldn't go out of their way to help anybody because they would feel threatened. Hey, the way I look at it is, I wish there were more people that were so innovative so I would have somebody to copy licks from. It might sound a little ego out, but there are very few guitarists that I can listen and make turn my head and go, whoa, how did he do that? And Alan is about the only one." So this is what Eddie said about Blackmore and Joe Perry when praising Alan Holdsworth, an incredible guitarist that Eddie helped to get a record deal when the record companies, were just dropping him. And obviously, he was totally wrong about Blackmore and Joe Perry, because he had the chance to, especially to see Joe Perry many times over the decades afterwards. And Blackmore is known for his unique personality. And Don Airey, for example, the keyboardist, recalled in an interview a few years ago, he told the story that Gary Moore, he played with Gary Moore, and Gary Moore wanted to meet Ritchie Blackmore, and Blackmore was touring at the time with Rainbow, if I'm not mistaken. And Eddie also wanted to meet him, and so Don took Gary Moore and Eddie Van Halen to see Blackmore backstage, and he kind of ignored them. He didn't stop and talked. And Don explained that was the way Blackmore was. He had this unique personality and etc. So he was not an easy person to be social, to socialize and etc. It didn't mean he hated you or anything else. And you can see that with what both guitarists said about Eddie Van Halen afterwards. And we really really selected two interviews where Joe and Blackmore praised him. Let's start with Joe. For Joe Perry, he said that Eddie, in his opinion, reinvented guitar playing. And this is what he told Van Halen News Desk in 2013. Eddie's playing was just phenomenal. He took everything that he heard and put his own stamp on it. I thought, oh my God, this is great. There were a lot of things he did where I was scratching my head and wondering how he did it. Little tricks and things. I was blown away by what he was doing. Eddie came along like a breath of fresh air. It was fresh and hard, and I just felt this was the start of something new. It was kind of like when you first heard Nirvana or Sex Pistols. Eddie's playing was revolutionary. Eddie's a gifted, natural talent. He's unstoppable. A musician like that comes along once in a decade or two, if you're lucky. He reinvented guitar playing. So that's what Joe said about Eddie. And he really, he didn't hate him. He actually admired him. And Blackmore, after Eddie passed away sadly in 2020 at the age of 65, he praised Eddie, and he released a tribute saying, Eddie Van Halen was a brilliant guitarist who started a technique of guitar playing which was emulated by a whole generation of guitarists. He was one of the nicest musicians I ever met in the music business. Very shy and not at all conceited about his ability as a guitar player. Frank Zappa said he reinvented the guitar. I agree. He will be sadly missed, but his brilliant legacy will always be remembered. The ultimate guitar hero. And it's really interesting because I've been in the musical journalism business for a few years already. More than 7 years, and every time an important rock star dies, it's not everybody that shares a tribute to that person, you know. Maybe his closest famous friends or people he played with, the bands he played on. And when Eddie Van Halen passed away in 2020, I mean, everybody posted something. Practically everybody said something about Eddie. Posted on their social media, their website, or their gave interviews talking about Eddie. Practically everybody. And these two, Joe Perry and Ritchie Blackmore, you know, when someone really important for rock and roll dies, not always they post a tribute, you know. So, and both of them posted a tribute to Eddie at the time. Joe posted a photo of Eddie with him and Steven Tyler, and Ritchie Blackmore released this statement. So, I mean, you can see how important Van Halen was and how much these guitarists, Joe Perry and Ritchie Blackmore, they think Eddie Van Halen was really, really important for rock and roll and for guitar playing. So they didn't hate him at all. And that's it. I hope you liked the video. It's an interesting story, and you can see all the points, you know, the first impression Eddie had from the two, and that was obviously wrong. And that's it. If you want to read more, read everything I said and more information about it, you can go to the description and visit the article we wrote about it. You're going to find the links to all these statements there. And don't forget to leave your comment, subscribe, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching, and see you later.